Welcome everyone, spoiler warning, featuring myself, Tom Colohue. We are, of course, as always, talking wrestling news today, and our top story will be no surprise to anyone. It is the question everyone has been asking, the question everyone has wanted the answer to. It is, of course, going to be about Alexa Bliss. Where is she? What's she doing? Her, and of course everything that's currently coming out about a contract situation. I'll link into a lot of my previous reporting on this one, particularly my original state of get excited, Alexa Bliss is coming back, which I first reported in the summer, which is when the WWE were planning to start using her initially. A lot going on there. Welcome, Jess. Thank you very much for that massive love heart. I appreciate it very much so. We will, of course, also be covering a number of other areas. We're going to be talking the Wyatt Sicks. They vanished, and where have they gone? We're also going to be talking PWInsider's paywall has reported that Aleister Black will not be in the Rumble. More details on that. Big, huge demand for the services of Baron Corbin, or formerly Baron Corbin. WWE and reports that they're going to be buying TNA. We're going to talk a little bit about AEW, particularly AEW's Britt Baker, and certain reporters who've been reporting about AEW and AEW's Britt Baker and what's going on there, because some of it is not good faith and doesn't make a lot of sense. We're going to talk more about what's going on with Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. And finally, reports that Liv Morgan will be popping up on SmackDown tonight. So if you're in the chat, be sure to say hi. I want to see all of you with the greetings, with the hellos, and with the welcomes to each other. I'll catch up with the chat, and then we'll go into everything going on with Alexa Bliss, so I can give people a little bit of time to dive in, to join, and so that I'm not necessarily continually repeating it. Liam says hello, Tom. Welcome, Liam. Jess says hey, Tom. Welcome, Jess. Liam says Aleister Black's contract, what was that? Isn't up until February, March. Does that mean he won't be at the Rumble? Aleister Black's contract has already expired. Already expired. Just to be very clear on that one, we will be going into more detail very soon. Welcome, Proud Dad says, hello, Tom. Hope you and the family are doing well. Doing very, very well, thank you. Thank you very much for the heart as well. I appreciate you for that. Getting lots of notifications from TikTok at the minute. Oh, try and grow your team. I'm going to let that one do its own thing. There is a team option. If you guys would like to join the team on TikTok, you click the join the team option. I appreciate you for that. But there's no force or no requirement to do so. I appreciate everyone who donates, gives gifts and the like, but there is no requirement to do so. We will be back monetized on the YouTube side about a week from now, as I continue to work on other video concepts that we'll be seeing come to light in no time at all. On the YouTube side, Erin says, hello, Tom. Hello, chat. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome, Erin. Cecil says, hello, everyone. Hope you're all well. Tom, how are you, sir? Doing very well. Thank you, Cecil. If she can't wait for the Wyatt Sicks news, it's a coming. Error of Penta says, morning, Tom. Morning, Error of Penta. Mr. Sims says, Mustafa Ali returned to TNA show last night. He said he has signed with TNA. He has indeed, and I am still expecting to see some appearance from him in WWE. Triple H is very eager to make that happen. Sean says, hello. Welcome, Sean. Declan says, hello. Welcome, Declan. Ethan also says, hello. Welcome, Ethan. Marcel says, hi, Tom and chat. How are you all? Hope you're doing well as well, Marcel. Calvin says, hey, Tom. Welcome, Calvin. Roy, Tessa Blanchard says stuff. I tend to ignore it. KJ says, hello, Tom. Welcome, KJ. Ishii says, will there be an update when the Wyatt Sicks will come again? The Wyatt Sicks news is incoming. Irish Need is saying, please give me good news. Can't promise the news you're going to hear is something you would consider to be good. Calvin says, do you see the Bloodline imploding in the Rumble match? Not necessarily. I do think there'll be quite a bit of teamwork involved in it, and we'll see Bloodline versus Bloodline at WrestleMania. Welcome, Darkness Blissful. That's a great name and a great icon there. Sean, good to see you, mate. Been a little while. Says, Tom, I know it's been a while. Just wanted to check in and say, hey, great, my friend. Miss you on the torch. I do miss being on the torch quite often, though I will say I definitely feel I made the right choice for me and mine. Given all of the changes that have happened in life since, I simply couldn't commit to something as time-consuming as my show on the torch was. I am sad to have sort of let down Nick, because I know he didn't necessarily want to end at that time, but I felt it was right for me. So I appreciate knowing I'm missed, but I do feel I made the right choice. Liam says, here's my theory. Braun about to beat Fatu until the Bloodline save him, and when they beat down Braun, the Wyatt Sicks come and save him. Not to my knowledge. I'm pretty sure Jacob Fatu is going to have a very good showing. Very good showing. Bailey says, hello, Tom. Welcome, Bailey. Declan says, any news on Nikki Bella? I know WrestleVotes have stated Nikki Bella's preparing for an in-ring return. I haven't heard anything about it myself, beyond the fact that Nikki Bella is interested in wrestling, but is not necessarily a high name on the list for Triple H. Welcome, Prime Man. Good to see you. Clyde says, hi, Tom, as well. So many people here. We're on 94 already, but only 22 likes. If you're on the YouTube side, remember to hit that thumbs up. If we're able to get, say, another 10 of you hitting like, we'll go up to a nice 100, which I absolutely would not complain about. On the TikTok side, we already have Proud Dad, Liam, Jess, all hitting like, getting those numbers up. We're at a 1,700 already, and I appreciate you for that. Liam says, the Tribal Wolf merch is looking fire. Oh, I agree. And says, Bella in the Women's Rumble. I think there's always scope for a Bella in the Royal Rumble. Sean says, do you have anything on what WrestleVote said about WWE and talks with Nikki Bella? Already covered that. Michael says, hi, Tom. Welcome, Michael. And Mick says, hi, Tom and chat. Hope everybody is fine. Welcome, Mick. Good to see you. Now, I will continue to catch up with the chat, but for a moment, I want to focus on what's going to be our top story. I don't want to wait too long before getting into it. We've just hit 102 viewers. We got those likes and the viewership boosted. Thank you to everyone who hit like there. So what's going on with Alexa Bliss? Where is she and where has she been? So here's the scoop. Here's the story. Here's the news that you won't get anywhere else. Alexa Bliss has been ready to return to the WWE for several months. 6 months, in fact. She's been training, ready to return for about 6 months. She's been eager to get back involved in the WWE, but the WWE have essentially said to her, we need to wait for everything to be lined up. Their intention was for her to immediately, or in some way, be involved with the Wyatt Sicks. Not necessarily rejoining, but my pitch was for a match with Nikki Cross at WrestleMania, I should say. That was indeed the plan. PWInsider have said she would have been working with the Wyatt Sicks. They'll have not gone further. I have. Nikki Cross versus Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania was being pitched. Now, Alexa Bliss has had to wait because the WWE have gained some confusion as regards to Wyatt Sicks. The Wyatt Sicks have not been able to confidently say one way or the other which show they're on, what they're going to be doing, and what's going to be changing for them. So, with shifting sands for the Wyatt Sicks, that has necessitated some time off, essentially, whether they want it or not, for the Wyatt Sicks and a creative reshuffle. The WWE didn't feel that the Wyatt Sicks were in the right spot and they weren't ready for Alexa Bliss to return. So instead, they worked with Karrion Kross. That worked fairly well. Things were going well. However, there's been some pushback from certain members of the Wyatt Sicks against the creative team and the creative plans for them. Bo Dallas is said to have a very clear vision of what he wants to do, and the WWE creative teams are not able to offer him that, at least not right now. This is creating some frustration, particularly given that Bo Dallas is said to not be particularly keen on the plans coming out of creative either. They're not yet being able to meet in the middle. This has meant that Alexa Bliss has had to wait even longer. With this in mind, Alexa Bliss has a new team around her. When she left, she was in a very different situation, and she has very clear goals and very clear aims now. With this in mind, and with the WWE not using her when they could have for months, Alexa Bliss believes that her contract term is nearly up. The WWE have extended her contract due to maternity leave, but Alexa Bliss believes that period, especially when you factor in when she's been available until now, has almost expired. As such, she's ready to return and she wants a new deal to be locked in by the time she does so. There's been reports out from PWInsider that she's looking for more money. I do believe, and I have been told she's looking for more money, but not a significant improvement. Instead, Alexa Bliss is asking for the same thing that so many people have asked for and received. Alexa Bliss, as a parent, is said to be looking for limited date affairs, which means that she would not be working anywhere near the same amount of dates as she has done previously. The WWE is said to be unwilling to both have a new contract in place, have one ready for a higher wage, and have one ready for less dates. The WWE's expectation is that she should respect the original deal and that she should essentially play out what was her maternity period. This is something that Alexa Bliss's team do not necessarily believe to be legal. The WWE at this point are confident that they'll be able to get through. However, Alexa Bliss is playing hardball and essentially stating, I'm worth more than you can give me right now. Alexa Bliss also has a number of offers from outside of the WWE, not in wrestling, Hollywood events. Honestly, it's a lot that she's being offered right now. There's even talk of a game show, which she would be hosting. Alexa Bliss has other offers and other opportunities. The WWE have a choice to make, and it's a big one. Can they get everything in line to give her what she wants and what she needs? Because she's not asking for championships. She's not asking for a significant push. She's not asking to work with the Wyatt Sicks. She's asking for respect for her family. Personally, I believe the WWE will cave on this one. Let me know your thoughts on everything I've just said. Let me know what you believe is going to be happening with Alexa Bliss. And let me know when you believe she will be returning. Liam says, when do you think they'll revisit the Wyatts versus the Final Testament? I don't believe we'll ever see it in the same incarnation. And says, will Cena be on the final Raw before the Rumble? That is likely. He's not booked to my knowledge, but he is booked for the Rumble. So logically, he should be turning up. We will be talking about the Wyatt Sicks in more detail in just a moment. On the YouTube side, we have 49 likes. One more gets us to 50. Let's get that ball rolling. And the TikTok side, already 3.5 thousand. Welcome, Andrew. Good to see you. Let's keep catching up with the chat. Leon says, hi, Tom. Hope you're doing well. Doing fairly well. Thank you, Leon. Appreciate you. KJ says, hey, Tom. Looking forward to the show. Alexa, Britt, Malachi are all names in discussion right now. Era of Penta says, is there plans for Mustafa Ali and Dolph in WWE? Plans for both of them? Yes. Sean says, I'm glad your channel is doing so well because you're good at what you do. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. We are this close to 10,000 subscribers. We are currently putting together a new video format, which hopefully you guys will enjoy. I put a lot less effort into the shorts on the YouTube channel. They did really well for views. They've not done well for bringing people to the live shows. So I'm not sure if that'll be something I necessarily continue, especially when I would say TikTok is doing so well for me at the moment on that particular side. We had a video on TikTok, a fan cam that I was able to source that had 25,000 views. So that was pretty good in a couple of days. Welcome, Jeremy, watching the pig. Always watch that pig. Sean says, congrats to Joe Hendry on winning the TNA World title. Do you think he may have signed an extension? Not sure on that one. WWE convinced he's coming over. Calvin says Triple H and Creative are definitely responsible for people losing interest in the A-Town Down Under storyline. You're not wrong there. Liam says this is the greatest Rumble ever with the amount of star power. There's been some good ones. Proud Dad says looking forward to seeing Malachi Black in the Rumble. Can't wait to hear his entrance music again. That has been disputed. We will cover that shortly. Liam says can't wait for the Joe Hendry John Cena face-off in the Rumble. I mean, people would enjoy it. Chris says, hey Tom, got a bad gut feeling that the Wyatt Sicks are now no more. They are still very much in play. More on that shortly. Declan is still watching the pig. John says, missed you on Monday, Tom. I noticed you weren't live then. It was my eldest child's birthday and the festivities went a bit longer than I expected. So I just didn't have time to prepare anything. And I was a bit tired, to be fair. So, yeah. We weren't live on Monday. Of course, I'm back live now. Juan says, hey Tom, welcome Juan. Leisha says, hi Tom, hello chat, welcome Leisha. Good to know, Marcel. Dad says, big up Tom, you know what's in store for Cody after the Rumble. Also, any news on when The Rock will be back? My immediate suspicion is that we're going to see lots and lots and lots of Randy Orton. Declan says, why is the Saturday night main event so close to the Royal Rumble? The Saturday night main event shows are not based on the same target audience as the Royal Rumble. Ethan says, not being well today, but hoping to have a good SmackDown tonight. Love the content, Tom. Sorry to hear that, Ethan. Hope you're feeling better soon. Spartan says, sup, Tom, been a while. How you been doing? How's the house getting along? Getting along well enough. Still plenty of work to do. You can see a freshly painted corner behind me. Next up, the big thing is a plumber to do some plumbing works. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting YouTube monetized again. I'll say that. Daughter, Liam. Daughter. Jess says, the wishy-washy booking of the Wyatt Sicks reminds me so much of how they used to go back and forth with Bray's booking. You're not wrong on that one. You're absolutely not. Liam says, any plans for any of the world titles to be defended inside the chamber? If not, what about the mid-card titles? There is talk of a women's championship being defended, but we'll see how that plays out, especially with everything going on at the moment. Mr. Sim says, are WWE or AEW interested in signing Josh Alexander? He's had offers, I don't know where from. Joe Pierce says, hey Tom, welcome Joe. And Declan says, could the SNME hurt the major PLE? Not the Royal Rumble. Ain't nothing derailing a Royal Rumble. WrestleBuzz says, hey Tom, hope all's well. Any info on when we'll see Coolio and or Lance Anoy, and if they'll be involved with main roster stuff or starting in NXT? WWE have concerns about Coolio. He's definitely going to be an NXT wrestler. Lance Anoy they seem pretty happy with, but they might be starting sort of a NXT Bloodline faction. Daniel says, hi Tom, how you doing bud? Doing fairly well, thank you mate, welcome to the show. Calvin says, if Hulk Hogan shows up tomorrow night, the boos are going to be louder than the Raw Netflix premiere. Yeah, and yeah. Kit says, hi, welcome Kit. Blue says the Wyatt Sicks are going to get time off whether they want it or not. Unfortunately, that is pretty much exactly what is happening. Chris says, I can't wait to see Julia and Bayley versus Roxanne and Cora Jade next Tuesday on NXT. Michael believes extending a woman's contract due to maternity leave is messed up. They look at it the same way they do an injury. Strange, isn't it? Noob says, welcome. Noob says, hello, Mr. Colohue. How are you doing today? Doing well, thank you. Noob, welcome to the show. Declan says, could Alexa Bliss be going to AEW? Depends if the WWE make a good enough bid or not. Ethan says, fuming that Alexa is not coming back as soon as possible with how long she's been gone. KJ says, how high is Alexa valued for more minor and less deals? KJ, I'm not entirely sure what you're asking there. As regards how highly Alexa is rated, WWE absolutely love her and want her to be as involved as possible. Andrew says, is it Punk and Roman at WrestleMania, you think? No, I do think we're more likely to see Punk Gunter, because then he can win it. Go said the Twin Towers made a Royal Rumble. They did. It was a very strange world. Liam, I think you might be right about Aleister Black and Dominic Mysterio. It would certainly be interesting to see Dominic Mysterio, Pentagon Jr., Aleister Black. That'd be a hell of a matchup. Era of Penta says, why does this always happen at anything associated with the Wyatts? Why can't they just make it work? Creative need to lighten up a bit. So do they. Chris says, Maria Kanellis has tweeted February 1st, is there any interest from WWE of bringing her back for an on-screen or backstage role? There is minor interest, nothing substantial. She's believed to be, unfortunately, more work than she's worth. Thank you, Proud Dad, for sharing the live. I appreciate that. Anything we can do to help spread the word, I very much appreciate. We're already up to 61 likes on the YouTube, more than 4,000 on the TikTok. You guys are definitely a big help there. Ishii says, why can't they fire the creative team? Because then they'd have no creative team. And very successful stories, such as, for example, the one of Roman Reigns, would not happen. One says, hey Tom, thank you so much for the reports. Do you believe all these bad AEW reports as of late are just hate, disgruntled journalists just kicking AEW while they're down? Yes and no. There's a mixture of truth and lies amongst them. I will be trying to clear a little bit of that up later. There are bad faith actors in the AEW space, and there are consistent bad faith actors in the WWE, in the AEW space. Liam says, Charlotte, surprise entry in the Rumble? I don't think it would be a surprise. They announced her return. And Andrew says, are we getting Worlds Collide of NXT TNA? I don't believe so, but more on that shortly as regards TNA. Penta says, did you see the tease for Braun with Wyatt Sicks? There's a number of different options available there. I never loved that, but we are where we are. Ari says, well, Tom, I'm not sure if that's good news or not. I know, right? Marcel says, I see Alexa in the Rumble as number 30. Jet says, any word on Lance Anoy? I've just covered that one. Blue says, Thomas, she's looking for a raise with less dates. That's not a small raise. Not saying she doesn't deserve it, but that is a substantial raise. And you're not wrong on that. It is the package deal that needs to be factored in. It would be a case of a minor raise from where she was, but for quite a bit less dates. So you do make a fair point. John says, I think Alexa Bliss returns at the Royal Rumble. There is still plenty of potential for that. Declan says, Karrion Kross versus Seth Rollins. Not something I've seen. Danny says, will Alexa return in the Royal Rumble? If a contract is signed, there is a space available for her. Razar says, the Alexa situation is really interesting. Did Becky sign a new contract after she returned from maternity leave? I feel like Alexa is in a similar spot that Becky was in. Yes, in fact, she did. And she's going to be signing a new deal when she returns now as well. Kai says WWE should just let Alexa Bliss go if she doesn't agree with what WWE is offering her. It's not necessarily just up to the WWE. Alexa Bliss does want things to happen. She does want to return to the WWE, to my knowledge. Marcel says, do you see Cena and Joe Hendry happening? Joe Hendry and John Cena want it to happen, so yes. Proud Dad says, any word on TNA wrestlers entering the Rumble? Only people who I think will be signing with WWE. So Jordan Grace, Joe Hendry. They want to get Mustafa Ali. They really want to. Calvin says, is there a chance Brie Bella may also return at the Royal Rumble? Always a possibility. The Bellas have been in the Royal Rumble a number of times. Kevin says, why WWE don't show love to the Women's Royal Rumble compared to the men's this year? They have in their own way. There's also moments when they haven't. Okay, says, any possibility of the Hardy Boys in the Rumble? No. Welcome, Kelly. Good to see you. Danny says, Alexa Bliss for the Women's Rumble, Randy Orton for the men's. Interesting. And Declan says, I'd like to see Charlotte in the Elimination Chamber. I suspect you may get your wish. We have 130 viewers at the moment as we go into our next piece of news, which will be on the Wyatt Sicks. We'll also do a minor recap of what we said about Alexa Bliss here. On the YouTube side, 65 likes. Be sure to hit like if you haven't already. We have 4,700 on TikTok. Always appreciate it. Let's go in on the Wyatt Sicks. I mentioned earlier in this show, Alexa Bliss was going to be working with the Wyatt Sicks, and there was a pitch for Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Cross at WrestleMania that could still happen. This was pushed back as there was confusion over what the Wyatt Sicks would be doing, and there are now some creative blockades. This has necessitated the Wyatt Sicks moving from Raw to SmackDown, where a different creative team are pitching something else. One of the things being pitched is for the Wyatt Sicks versus the new Bloodline, which would allow Solo Sikoa to rebuild, and it also gives us a possibility of, for example, Jacob Fatu versus Dexter Lumis, which I think would be fantastic. Plenty of options for them in that field. However, there are some serious concerns at this point in time that the Wyatt Sicks are becoming more difficult to deal with. It's extremely similar to the concerns they had with Bray Wyatt, because the Wyatt Sicks have a story that they want to tell. A story that I've already laid out in this channel, involving watching a pig and someone going missing. Now, I tried to line up as much as I could with that. I still believe this is what they're trying to do, but the creative team are getting in the way. They've moved over to SmackDown, where there's a new creative team trying to come up with new ideas for them. There are concerns that the Wyatt Sicks are not a good fit for the WWE. This naturally creates problems. The return of Alexa Bliss could well rescue them, could well pull them out of a funk, and Alexa Bliss is likely to go to SmackDown if this is, of course, the case. But right now, no one is volunteering to work with the Wyatt Sicks. Bo Dallas is not volunteering to write stories that people really benefit from who aren't currently working with the Wyatt Sicks, and the creative team haven't really come up with anything that guarantees the Wyatt Sicks a strong position on the card. The Wyatt Sicks will be arriving on SmackDown very soon. There are pitches in place. They are going to be kicking something off shortly. But when it comes to the creative team, there is a clear disconnect between creative and the Wyatt Sicks. Liam says, is the plan Sami versus KO at Mania? Seems possible, but once again, we're going to WrestleMania where I just don't think people are that invested in Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Liam says, as regards Dexter Lumis versus Jacob Fatu, take my money. Lights of fire. Jess says, Tama yang against the Wyatts would be hilarious. Liam, it's a difficult one. I think they will appear tonight, but it depends. They moved to SmackDown for a reason. There will be a relaunch. Proud Dad says, any updates on the recovery of Tonga Loa? Nothing major. It's apparently going well, but that's all I've really been given. Liam says, like Bray, when they get rehired again a few years later, believes that they are likely to be shown as released. Dom says, what's up, Tom and chat? Don't forget to hit the like button, or we have 2 words for you. Rusev Day. Been a while. Joe says, Saul Ventura was announced for Saturday Night Main Event, adjusting True Doubt Hogan. Will be there. And Dawn says, hello all. Nice to catch this show again. Welcome, Dawn. Jan says, any returns for the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches? So many, most of which I've already covered. Bailey says, PWInsider are reporting Hulk Hogan will not be at Saturday night's main event due to a family event. Hulk Hogan is trying desperately to be everywhere. It's awkward for everyone involved. Chris says, next Tuesday's NXT will be Bailey's first match on NXT since June 17th, 2020, which I believe was a tag team match. Sean says, do you think this year's WrestleMania is the first since WrestleMania 30 that Roman won't main event? I think Cody will main event. I don't think he'll be facing Roman. So yes. Mr. Sims says Hulk Hogan's not going to be a Saturday night event. Cool. Juan says the only way Alexa Bliss goes to AEW is if she does what Mercedes Money did, come back with a new name that she trademarked. To be clear, she does want a slight rebranding. Cecil says, I think cooler heads prevail and we get the contract done and we move forward. Alexa and WWE need each other. Need is a strong word. Liam says if they booked Penta so good on his return, imagine the booking Aleister Black would get. A Braun Breaker versus Aleister Black, I'm all in. Can't disagree with that. That sounds like fun. Calvin says, I would be beyond excited if WWE booked that multi-person tag match I pitched. Some said that Charlotte looks like... Okay, moving on. Spartan says, what's the special drink of choice for today? Vimto. Just Vimto. I can't afford cherry coke every day. Are you mad? Blue says, I liked Bray and I like the concept of the Wyatt Sicks, but this is wrestling and any story needs to emphasise that. I couldn't agree more. Bailey says, do you see Jade Cargill return to confront her attacker or attackers at the Rumble? She is fit and firing. She is likely to be in and around the Rumble. I don't necessarily know if they'll throw her in too quickly, but there is a WrestleMania match on the cards. Noob says, do you see Asuka making her return to the Royal Rumble? I don't believe she's been cleared yet. Sean says, no Nick Nemeth appearance in the Rumble. They're trying to move on. There's only a few places where they're kind of going backwards. Francis says, Tom, when will Becky Lynch return? I expect her to be appearing in and around the Royal Rumble. Era of Penta. Sorry, guys, just got to cut to where I am. Era of Penta says, who are they pushing to take over Fraxium in NXT? Is there a push for main roster? Yes and no. It's not a huge thing. Chris says, I got Charlotte Flair or Bayley and John Cena. Danny says, Naomi attacked Jade to get Bayley in the Survivor Series match. Penta says, JBL back in WWE for a reason. Will he line up with Dolph? Possibly. Aaron says, Dexter versus Jacob sounds fantastic. I'd even be okay with him on TV just selling ice cream. Put him on TV. Kai says, will we ever see Dexter Loomis versus Samuel Shaw? I hope so, though you do need some smoke and mirrors. Oh, Jess says, very important. Prediction for Damian Priest's Royal Rumble hairstyle. Big, bold, less than you think. Matter says, the lighting reflection in your glasses reminds me of Tron. That's my ring light, but this is going to make me some enemies. I liked Tron. I liked the music of Tron Legacy. I listened to that soundtrack quite a lot. Quite enjoyed it. Chet says, I've been giving you love on Wrestling Days show, trying to grow my favourite wrestling pods. I appreciate that, Chet. It's very nice of you. I very much appreciate it. I know Kelly does that as well. Irish Neep says, ironic how creative Bray was, but can't connect with the creative team. Yeah, pretty much. He had some free reign in his last run. It just unfortunately didn't work out for him. The Wide Weird World of Frankenberry says, I feel good about things under Triple H for a while, but I'm losing it quickly. His creative team have completely fumbled the Wyatt Sicks. It's not a problem with the talent. They're awesome. I get what you're saying. Firstly, welcome. I believe that's a new name, Frankenberry. Welcome to the show. As regards Triple H, there was always going to be a moment where people stopped and asked the question, is he doing as well as he should? And there are very good moments and very good booking. His work with Gunter, for example, has been fantastic. He knows how to put on one great match. Long term, I have some concerns. Proud Dad says, has there been any push to bring back NXT Women's Tag Titles? Not at this time, no. Zeno, I wouldn't say everyone hates the Wyatts. This particular chat is full of people who love them. Penta says, any creative for Barrett, and are they going to sign Miro? No creative for Barrett at this point, though he's trying to make it happen. As regards Miro, there is interest. Jalen says, maybe Alexa is solo after all when she returns and avoids the Wyatt dead end. Ishii says, could you see Wyatt Sicks at Saturday night's main event or tonight possibly? There's been no PLE in which the Wyatt Sicks have appeared. Ray is still a Hulkamaniac. Declan says, I could see Becky Lynch winning WrestleMania this year. Well, like the whole thing. Kieran says, of all the talent in NXT coming up in a year or two, I find it really hard that people like Alexa and Carmella stay around, even though not many can touch Alexa on the mic when the women's division needs it. I do think Alexa Bliss is someone they desperately want. That's all I'll say as regards what you've mentioned there. Kevin says, talent getting paid to do the job doesn't matter if you don't want to work as a Wyatt Sicks. This is a business. Calvin says the Royal Rumble winners will be Liv Morgan and Roman Reigns. Jack Burton, you, says, when should we expect to see Charlotte Flair's return? Shortly, in and around Royal Rumble. They're announcing her return with an intention to use it. Blue says, lots of folks in here today. Women's wrestling headlines draw. They do indeed. We've peaked at 132 viewers, which is a very nice number. We average about 100 viewers regularly, and I haven't pushed this. I haven't pushed this show to Twitter. I haven't pushed this show to Blue Sky. You guys have been the ones getting the words out. You guys have been sharing it. You guys have been making it happen. Liam says, any update on AJ Styles? At the moment, there is no creative in place for AJ Styles, which tells me he's not due to return anytime soon. Matt says, no hate from me regarding Tron. Kelly's frustrated by the whole concept. Blue loves the soundtrack for Tron Legacy as well. So there's a few people here who've watched it. I like it. James says, can't for the life of me understand why WWE doesn't bend over backwards to get whatever storyline the Six want told. It's kind of disrespectful to Bray, in my opinion. Mr. Sims says, JBL showed up to help Joe Hendry beat Matt Cardona for the TNA title on last night's TNA show. So basically, everything involved in the championship is JBL. Andrew says, hello, Tom. Hope you're well. Do you think Rock Roman still happens at Mania? It was never going to happen at Mania. Also, Scott Steiner has teased a Rumble appearance in the Men's Rumble. I agree, Tron is a fantastic movie. They don't want Scott Steiner. Michael says, Bray and his whole story he wants to tell is perfect for WWE. It fits their form of entertainment. I don't get why they can never do it justice. He literally only ever wanted to tell one story, and he was never able to finish it. So close, so many times. Jess says, who's Logan Paul feuding with next? We'll find out soon. Andrew says, will they be keeping the Winged Eagle belt after the Rumble? No, there was no plan to keep it this long. It was supposed to be a one-night thing, and then Kevin Owens went to Triple H and said, can I just keep it? Can I just keep it? So, yeah. Penta says, is there any solid plans for Andrade? He seems to be lost in the mix like Apollo Crews. The plans at this point, essentially, are to wait and see. They do have plans for him, but it's a case of waiting until everything lines up to hit the trigger. There's so many people now waiting for a push, and they have to keep waiting. It'll be a case of rotating people through, trying to keep them on TV, and seeing how it's going to happen. Jess says, any update on when the Mexico PLE will be officially announced? I covered that on Friday. It is a case of waiting to see what response they're going to get from the government. Declan says, Triple H has fumbled the Women's Royal Rumble. Like Rhea winning the Royal Rumble, chose SmackDown Women's Champion but stayed on Raw. It was a mess. Cecil says, your thoughts on the outcome of Wyatt Sicks as you see it? Bad start. Bad start. They just need more consistency. Tom says, Tiffany is the prettiest moonsault. What do we call Jacob Fatu since it's the same finisher? Love how WWE is ignoring it. The ugliest moonsault? The most vicious moonsault? The deadliest moonsault. So many moonsaults. Mr. Sims, good point. Let's get to that. That's actually my next piece of news. So, Mr. Sims has said, Baron Corbin's new name is the Nomad Bishop Dyer. What do you think of it? I don't mind it at all. I don't think it's bad. I'm confused as to why he's not using his actual name, but the Nomad's a good concept. What I've been told is that there's high demand for the services of Baron Corbin. A lot of people really happy with the work that he did in WWE, particularly the character work, and eager to use him. He's had interest from AEW, TNA, and the like, and also further afield. Bloodsport very happy to be able to use him. His intention is to follow the Mustafa Ali model, which I think has been very effective. Now, Mustafa Ali spent a while traveling and working with a lot of different areas before then signing anywhere. That's what Corbin is intending to do. That's what the Nomad phrase is designed for, to basically say to everyone, I don't work here, I'm just here to wreck things. Interest in Baron Corbin is very high. Ishii says, surely we get a surprise on SmackDown tonight because it's only got 2 things announced. The main event will be a surprise. It always is. Kelly says, Bo and them need to find a platform to tell this story. I know there's so much potential and it looks like WWE isn't going to let it be told. Unfortunately, that seems like it is true. Proud Dad says, could there be a new championship belt introduced after the ladder match at Rumble? Could be, but so far, not that I've heard. Not that I've heard. Just keeping caught up. Dad says, do you think Kenny and Will Ospreay will be a good tag team? Yeah. Both high flyers, both very intense. Chris says, Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Shotzi and Tegan Nox for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship was a match on June 17th, 2020. Sid says, the YouTube stream is going perfect. Welcome, Sid, and thank you for that update. Kevin says, can we see female talent show up in the Men's Royal Rumble? No intention of doing so beyond what they've already done. Kieran says, I can see a Carmelo, Andrade, LA Knight, Nakamura fatal 4-way at Mania. I would have no issues with that at all. And Liam says, the only tribal I acknowledge is the tribal wolf. What did I say about Jacob Fatu, guys? Did you watch SmackDown last week? It's happening. It's happening. Francis said, Tom, wasn't Bray working on a character for Alexa Bliss to play before his passing? Yes, he was indeed. He was indeed. And that's a character that she wants to return to. Calvin says, a lot of superstars are lost in the shuffle, which is so frustrating. Razar says, what's the update with Jade Cargill and what's the Attacker storyline going to lead to? A match at WrestleMania. Killer Moonsault is Blue's suggestion. I like it. Liam says, Orton's surprise return in the Rumble. I could definitely see that, as I do think he'll be working with Cody Rhodes sooner rather than later. Also says, do you think Sammy will help Owens in the ladder match? No. Sammy's a good guy. One says, hey Tom, isn't it kind of funny that a lot of wrestling podcasters are saying how the war is over or how AEW fell off? That shows they were never real fans of AEW. Yeah, pretty much. We've covered AEW quite some length. It did come down to a very simple situation where they couldn't maintain the retention. They couldn't maintain viewership. Despite having quite a lot of viewers, they weren't able to keep them invested. I still think they're doing very good numbers, considering how young the promotion is. I still think they managed to make pretty significant headlines. They're not direct competition with the WWE. They never were. But they've done extremely well, and I do think they have a lot of potential to do extremely well going forwards. Kieran says, Corbin said on Chris Van Vlie's podcast, the Bishop is a higher rank than Baron, that's why he's using it. Penta says, who do you think didn't like Baron Corbin? He did say that there was an individual. I don't know who that would be, but it's someone who's still there. Dom says, I like Penta. Hope they didn't put him with LWO, but he taught a lot. But I don't know what he's... I don't understand what he's saying, Dom. Not sure. Mr. Sim says, will we see any TNA wrestlers show up in the Royal Rumble? I believe we will, yes. And as she says, if we get Wyatt Sicks versus Bloodline, we can't have Wyatt Sicks lose again. What did I say? James says the Sicks versus the Judgment Day would be so good. Why put them on different shows? Because neither of them can really afford to lose at this point. There was even built-in real-life backstory there with Liv and Bo. That might also have had something to do with it. We don't know if there's been a breakup, if there was even a relationship, and how messy that breakup may have been. Wrestler Fan says, will more matches be added to the Royal Rumble 2025 card? Yes, they will. Matter says, would you speculate who Corbin was talking about, Tom? I don't know. And if I don't know, I'm not willing to speculate. Jess says, what's all this Britt Baker mess? We'll get to that in just a moment. Liam says, we definitely need a one-on-one match scene between the Tribal Chief and the Tribal Wolf. I'm going to get first to PWInsider's report on Malachi Black. Now, PWInsider have reported that Malachi Black's contract runs a little longer and he will not be in the Royal Rumble. I can confirm and have reported previously, Malachi Black, his contract with AEW has already expired. It has already expired. The WWE are holding a gap if he is available to be in the Royal Rumble. I would not, at this point, I would not be willing to confirm one way or the other what's going to happen. As I said, to my knowledge, they are holding a spot. Dave Meltzer is reporting that the WWE's long-term goal with the TNA deal is that they would purchase TNA. To my knowledge, the WWE has no interest whatsoever in purchasing TNA. Instead, they are viewing it very much as a feeder promotion. They are eager to see more work between themselves and TNA. They are eager to see more TNA wrestlers in NXT, but it is a TNA NXT deal, not a TNA WWE deal. It is not the same thing. Dave is wrong. Just being clear on that one. Brad Dad said, is Black being teased by Chad Gable? Yes, he is, because they've already got the confirmation. Liam says, Penta versus Aleister Black. The day will come, and it will come sooner than you think. Joey, welcome, mate. Says, hey, Tom, is it true TK got sick of Britt Baker and pulled her off TV? No. Tom says, will he be saying I only get the L, but in WWE he keeps getting cut off in his match? Spelling of his hands, Penta is who I'm talking about. Okay. Blue says, AEW made a rod for its own back of overselling the war with WWE. To be clear, that I also believe that that is a major part of their early success. That war. The thing that really stopped the war was Triple H. Blue also says, quite rightly, they're the best alternative in 3 decades, and that's amazing, but that reality feels like a failure because of all the talk. Yeah, it's one of the main reasons they did so well so early, but they did state, we're here to compete, and unfortunately, they were unable to. Mr. Sim says, are you liking WWE and NXT? So far, I'm loving it. Yeah, me too. Save me a tenner. Save me a tenner. Penta says, do you see the righteous in WWE? They seem to have fallen off a cliff with teases. When Wyatt was around, were they meant to be a part of the Owl storyline? Not really. There was a lot of people that we were told would be huge. They just weren't. Do you remember when Vincent was definitely involved? He's definitely involved. He was definitely involved. Everyone said it. I didn't say it. Calvin says, do you think that Nikita Lyons has gotten lost in the shuffle in NXT women's division? Very much so, yes. Joey says, do you see Jordan Grace starting in NXT or going straight to the main roster? Personally, I think Jordan Grace will start in NXT. Kelly says, Bo and Liv were definitely in a relationship. If you saw the footage from her arrest, she called him to come where she was. Not sure about why. The breakup, though. Thank you for the confirmation, Kelly. I've not seen the footage. It felt invasive. Wrestler Fan says, will we get any surprise in both Royal Rumble matches? Yes. James says, imagine Dave Meltzer being wrong. We've had to say that exact phrase so many times on this channel. Dave Meltzer, nah mate. Calvin says, I don't understand why AEW denied Ricky Starks' release when they're not using him. They're burying him. They're burying him. They're making him worth less. Not worthless, worth less. Dom says, do you still have Becky and Charlotte winning the Rumble and Drew as your predictions? I still have Drew. I have Becky returning. As regards the winner in the Women's Rumble, I'm going to need a minute. This is how long are they going to drag out the Judgment Day tension until they finally break up? Longer than you'd like. It's definitely an after WrestleMania thing. Blue says, so they are finally going to let Aleister out of that room to fight someone. He was eager to pick a fight, to be fair. Mr. Sims says, do you think Cora Jade could beat Masha Slamovich? I think she could. I don't think she will. Joey says, does Britt have legit heat backstage in AEW? That is my next piece of news. I'll just catch up with the next piece of chat. Wrestler Fan says, who will Gunter face at Mania? I still kind of feel like Drew, but CM Punk's making a strong case. And then she says, do you see Uncle Howdy in the Rumble to eliminate Carrion? Once again, the Wyatt Sicks have appeared in 0 PLEs so far. Just as Triple H's long-term storytelling is always way too long. True. Penta says, what's happened to Ember Moon? She couldn't make it big in WWE. She's in AEW holding championships. Doing pretty well. Britt Baker. There are a number of bad faith actors in the wrestling journalism sphere who essentially make themselves as big a name as they can by lying, by pretending, and by attacking. There is an individual, I believe it's Ibu of Wrestle Purists, who recently has been accused of a number of different things. The vast majority of it is spreading wild and unfounded gossip about AEW. One of his favourite targets seems to be Britt Baker. Britt Baker has denied almost everything that he has reported, and Tony Khan has denied almost everything that he has reported. He's just done it in private. I'm told that Tony Khan is not frustrated by Britt Baker. However, the frustration is from Britt Baker to wrestling. He is far from the only person, Ibu, but there are a lot of bad faith actors, and the pressure of being in the public eye and almost constantly under attack by strangers is said to be starting to tell. Britt Baker has some time off to clear up her head. That's what's been happening. She's not being pulled, she's not being rejected, she's not being this or that. There are a number of people in AEW who continually want to work with Britt Baker. Mercedes Money, for example, is eager to have another match with her. But the bad faith actors are becoming a problem. It is difficult for anyone in this field to respect many names in wrestling journalism who make stuff up, who put up guesses behind paywalls, and who report the obvious with their interpretation of what someone else has already said. I've proven on a number of occasions that my reporting has ended up in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. I've proven on a number of occasions that my reporting has ended up in the Fightful Select paywall. I've proven on a number of occasions that my reporting has been taken, twisted, and used for someone else to try and make a name for themselves. I'm far from the only person. Wrestling journalism is not a popular area. It is not an area that I can say with honesty that I'm particularly proud to be part of the team. The team sucks. The people at the top of wrestling media suck. So yeah, I'd rather be a little nobody with 5 people watching on TikTok, with 118 people watching on YouTube. I'd rather be me. That's who I want to be. And honestly, I'm very happy with what we're able to achieve here. The reporting by Ibu, even if it was correct, has hurt Britt Baker. It's a risk of hurting her career prospects. It's hurting her personally. I refuse to be that guy. And that's all I have to say on it. That's all I have to say on it. Proud Dad says, I'm proud to be one of those 5 people here. Keep up the good work, Tom. Thank you, Proud Dad. We've actually had a good amount of viewership, to be honest. TikTok is slowly but surely continuing to grow. Michael, he was one of them. I particularly pointed out Ibu on the basis of he's in talk at the moment, but I did say the people at the top suck. Where was I? Dad says, where's Miro? Not been seen since last year. Also Wardlow. Wardlow, a number of injuries and some health conditions. Miro, don't want to. He just don't want to. Joey says, do you see Aleister keeping his Dark Father gimmick, or will he get something new? He was eager to continue the Dark Father gimmick. He felt there was a lot still to tell there. It was a gimmick that he himself was creating, so he does want to revisit that. Blue says, the thing about trying to bury Ricky is that they've kind of made him a bigger deal than he was before. A lot like Penta, I expect him to be way more over than he would have been otherwise. Debatable. Mr. Sim says, do you see NXT wrestlers win TNA titles or TNA wrestlers winning NXT titles? Yes and no. Small ways, small titles. KJ says, since it's a season, AEW has a Royal Rumble-sized amount of unhappy talent. Calvin says, have you heard the theory that Giovanni Vinci has heat and being punished for flirting with Tiffany Stratton, which is why he's not being used? Heard the theory. It's wrong. It's completely wrong. Didn't happen. Zeno says, Bray's last match was at the Rumble, so they could appear. Anything could happen. Bailey says, when do you see the era of the independent contractor become the era of employees? We know why WWE does it, but for all the talk about Tony being a friend of the locker room, he didn't change either. No, he didn't, did he? Lots of big talk. The era is not coming to an end anytime soon. KJ says, Ibu sucks. Michael says, Ibu's a weirdo. I said it, not you. Appreciate that clarification, Michael. Joey says, did WWE have big interest in Josh Alexander? No. KJ says, Ibu also said months ago how Britt cheated on Cole after she used a move of Cole's. Also, when I reported before WrestleMania that the WWE had meetings planned to strike a deal with TNA and an as yet unannounced Japanese promotion, Ibu quoted that and laughed. It was then proven true. You'll note there's been no effort to apologise. None whatsoever. Michael says Cassidy Hayes debunked a Meltzer report about AEW having a policy on mandate for WrestleMania weekend. Meltzer said young talent is not allowed to take bookings. Cassidy said that is not accurate. Certain talent have contracts that allow them to work different promotions. Certain talent do not. As regards WrestleMania weekend, it's just another weekend. Kelly says, I'm sorry guys, but I'm not expecting to see the Wyatts anytime soon. Maybe not till Mania or after. I'm just not getting my hopes up anymore. Ben says, ringside roster seem to be really on point with their reporting. Matt says, shitty media is not exclusive to wrestling. You are correct there. Thank you, Blue. Appreciate that. Mr. Stummel says, Tom, will Finlay finally get an apology from the board of directors for being disqualified for bringing a shillelagh to the Royal Rumble, even though others have brought weapons before? What a sham. What a sham. Proud Dad is saying Moose versus Obafemi. If you're interested in that, maybe they'll make it happen. Let the world know. Kieran says there's wrestling journalists, even if you did cheat, it's got nothing to do with wrestling. True. It's not in the public interest, even if it is true. Where's the public interest? Kelly says it's the exact same stuff they did to Brace. I'm done getting excited about them till I can actually see them. Mr. Sims says, how's your Blue Sky going? More than 1,100 followers now. Pardon me. For those who haven't done so, check out Blue Sky. You can follow me there. That will be where I do the majority of my social media. Elon Musk is not getting another penny from me. Twitter will be kind of going bye-bye. I'll keep it mostly for communication. But that's it. I'll still be using TikTok, though I'm already aware there's problems there. So I'll be using TikTok, YouTube, and, of course, Blue Sky. I'm not in it for money. I want to help the space. And you can't do that with Twitter. That doesn't happen. Blue says, I did not realise all that with Ibu. Heard stuff was leaking from his Discord, not that he was reporting it. That's really messed up. James says, do you think Cora hits the main roster in 2025? It feels like she's ready. Yes, I do. Noob says, do you see Bianca Belair and Naomi losing the women's tag titles to Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson in NXT this coming Tuesday? No, I don't. I don't think they lose them until Jade Cargill returns. One says, out of all the established ex-WWE talent TK signed, Mercedes Money is the only one who's trying to boost AEW up. Again, debatable. There are people such as Swerve, for example, who I feel has really been trying that same thing. Mr. Sims says, Deonna Purrazzo was bigger in TNA than any point in her career. To go to a company and have her career die off. AEW doesn't give a shit about women's wrestling. It's all off the card. That's from Mr. Sims. Blue says, wrestling news and gossip are one and the same at this point. Unfortunately, mostly true. Alyssa says, who faced Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41? I'm in the mood for Randy Orton. And Mr. Sims says, I hate Elon Musk because he's getting to people's business that doesn't concern him. Calvin says, who do you see taking the tag titles off DIY? I think it will go back to Motor City Machine Guns. We have 79 likes on YouTube, 123 viewers. Can we get one more to take us up to 80? That'd be a very good number. A couple more things I do want to discuss. Firstly, as regards what's going on with Solo Sikoa, one of the reasons the match finish was changed, Roman Reigns was originally expected to lose to Solo Sikoa. He, in fact, wanted to lose to Solo Sikoa. Triple H decided it was not the right move. One of the reasons for this, I've been given a quote to read out here. We couldn't afford to ignore Jacob Fatu any longer. Solo Sikoa's loss was designed to give more TV time and more respect, as it were, to Jacob Fatu. We are going to see him taking more of a leadership role, and it does mean the era of the third bloodline may well be on the way. Jess suggests Jade Cargill versus Cora Jade. I wouldn't necessarily go that far. The final thing I want to discuss, there is a report that Liv Morgan is backstage for WWE SmackDown. I believe this comes from PWInsider. I can confirm that Liv Morgan is indeed backstage at SmackDown and expected to make an appearance. Blue says Jacob to be the one to finally bring in Tola Tonga. Jacob Fatu as a third leader of the Bloodline would be really significantly expanding the Bloodline. 88 likes on YouTube, 6,600 likes on TikTok, and a hell of a lot of people joining us to watch. I want to say thank you to a lot of new names. Make sure you've hit subscribe. We do these shows every Monday and every Friday, with the occasional show missed because of different responsibilities. I'm a parent after all, and also, you know, we have a Christmas break, but outside of that, we are pretty regular here. Make sure you're following on YouTube. There is more to come, and you're not going to want to miss it. Make sure you're following on TikTok as well, where I do short form content. There's a lot of fan cams, there's a lot of news, there's a lot of me in there that you might very much enjoy. So if you're into short form, follow on TikTok. If you're into long form, follow on YouTube. And if you want more in social media, be sure to check me out on Blue Sky. Until then, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone for joining me. I've been Tom Colohue. You have been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.